There's a difference between saving someone and watching them die slowly. Sometimes you can't tell which you're doing until it's over. Hospital Corpsman, 3rd Class, Daniel Cooper, United States Navy, attached to 1st Battalion, 9th Marines. They called us the Walking Dead. High casualty rate, heavy combat. We earned the name. I was 21 years old, from Chicago. Joined the Navy in 1965 thinking I'd see the world, maybe learn a trade. They made me a corpsman, taught me basic medicine, how to treat wounds, how to stabilize trauma patients. Then they attached me to a Marine infantry unit and sent me to Vietnam. The Marines called us Doc. All corpsmen were doctor. Didn't matter what your real name was. You were Doc because that's what they screamed when they got hit. Doc! Doc! I'm hit! That sound, that desperate scream, I heard it in my sleep, still do. They told us in training that corpsmen had the highest casualty rate in the Marine Corps, higher than riflemen, higher than machine gunners, because we ran toward the wounded, toward the fire. While everyone else was finding cover, we were moving into the open. Had to. The Marines needed us, and the Marines looked out for their doc, shared their rations, gave you the best spot in the fighting hole, protected you fiercely because they knew you'd run through hell to save them. And we did. God help us, we did. I arrived in Vietnam in March 1967. Got assigned to 1-9 operating in I Corps up near the DMZ. Rough country, heavy enemy presence, constant contact. They gave me a medical bag, morphine, bandages, plasma, tools to save lives, 30 pounds of equipment that was never enough. Never had enough bandages, never had enough plasma, never had enough morphine, never had enough hands to treat everyone who was screaming. My first week in country, we got hit in a rice paddy, ambush, heavy automatic weapons fire. 3 Marines down in the first 30 seconds. That's when I learned what I really was. Not a sailor, not a medic. A 21-year-old kid deciding who lives and who dies. The rice paddy, March 15th, 1967. I remember it perfectly, the way the water looked, the way the mud smelled, the way the bullets sounded snapping past. 3 Marines down. Lance Corporal Martinez, PFC Williams, Private First Class Jenkins, all hit in the initial burst. Martinez was closest, maybe 20 yards from where I'd hit the deck. He was screaming. Good sign. Meant his lungs worked. Meant he was conscious. Williams wasn't making any sound. Bad sign. Jenkins was trying to crawl toward cover, leaving a blood trail in the water. The fire was still heavy. A K-47's from the tree line, maybe 50 yards out. The Marines were returning fire, but we were pinned. Sergeant Morrison was yelling, "Doc, we got wounded." Like I didn't know, like I couldn't hear them screaming. I had to move, had to get to them. But which one first? Triage. They'd taught us triage in training. Treat the ones you can save. Skip the ones who are too far gone. Maximize lives saved. Cold, clinical, makes sense in a classroom. Impossible when they're your Marines. When you know their names. When you've shared cigarettes with them. I went for Martinez. He was closest, loudest, and screaming meant alive. I ran, low as I could. Bullets everywhere. Felt one tug at my sleeve. Close, too close. Reached Martinez. He'd taken rounds to the leg and abdomen. The leg was bad, femoral artery bleeding. The abdomen was worse. Sucking chest wound. Lung collapsed. I had seconds to decide. Stop the leg bleeding or seal the chest. Both. Had to do both. Tourniquet on the leg first. Twisted it tight. Martinez screamed. Good. Pain meant consciousness. Meant his brain had oxygen. Chest seal next. Plastic bandage over the wound. Taped down 3 sides. Let the air escape, but not enter. His breathing eased. "You're good, Martinez. You're gonna make it. Stay with me." He nodded, grabbed my arm. Williams? Check Williams. Williams was 30 yards away, still not moving, still silent. I low-crawled to him. Took maybe 2 minutes. Felt like hours. Found him face down in the water, rolled him over. Entry wound in the back, exit wound in the chest, big exit wound. I felt for a pulse, nothing. Checked his pupils, fixed and dilated. He was gone. Probably died instantly. Never knew what hit him. At least that's what I told myself. Jenkins was still moving, still crawling. I went for him next. By the time the medevac came, 20 minutes later, Martinez was stable. Jenkins was stable. Williams was dead. 2 out of 3. Good ratio, they told me later. Didn't feel good. The missions kept coming. Patrols, search and destroy, clearing villages, every day something, and every day casualties. You learned to triage instinctively, stopped thinking about it, just acted. Arterial bleeding, stop it first, airway compromised, clear it. Sucking chest wound, seal it. Traumatic amputation, tourniquet and pressure, multiple casualties. Treat the savable ones first. The ones who'd die without immediate help but could survive with it. Skip the ones who'd survive anyway. Minor wounds, walking wounded. They could wait. Skip the ones who were too far gone. The ones with catastrophic head wounds. The ones with their guts spilled out. The ones who were unconscious and barely breathing. Save who you could, accept who you couldn't. Sounds cold. It is cold, but it's also how you save the most lives. Doesn't make it easier. April 1967. We got hit during a night patrol. Mortar attack. 4 casualties in the first barrage. I ran to the first one, Corporal Hayes. Both legs gone below the knee. Tourniquets on both stumps. He was screaming, conscious, savable if I worked fast. While I was working on Hayes, I heard someone else. Private Morrison, different Morrison, no relation to the sergeant. He was calling for help, weakly, almost a whisper. Doc, I can't breathe. I wanted to go to him, wanted to check, but I was in the middle of treating Hayes. If I left him, he'd bleed out. If I stayed, Morrison might die. I stayed with Hayes, finished the tourniquets, started an IV, gave him morphine. By the time I got to Morrison, maybe 5 minutes later, he was dead. Sucking chest wound. If I'd gotten to him first, maybe I could have saved him. But then Hayes would have died. 2 men. 1 corpsman. Impossible choice. I made the right call. Saved the one I could definitely save. That's what triage means. But Morrison died alone, drowning in his own blood, calling for me, and I didn't come. That's what haunted me. Not the ones who died instantly, not the ones who were too far gone. The ones who died because I was somewhere else, because I had to choose. May 1967, village sweep, booby trap, 5 casualties. I had to do it again. June, ambush on a trail, 7 wounded, some minor, some critical. Had to choose who got treated first. July, mortar attack, 6 down, 3 dead on scene, 3 savable. But not enough plasma for all 3. Had to decide who got the IV fluids. You become mechanical, efficient. Stop seeing them as people, just problems to solve. Medical scenarios, triage cases. Because if you see them as people, as kids from Iowa and Texas and California who have mothers and girlfriends and dreams, you can't function. You can't make the choices you have to make. The Marines understood. They saw what we did, saw us running through fire, saw us making impossible decisions. They protected us fiercely. If anyone threatened their doc, the whole platoon would lose it. You didn't mess with Doc, but they also knew that sometimes Doc couldn't save everyone, knew that sometimes your buddy died because Doc was treating someone else. They never blamed us, never said it was our fault. But I blamed myself. Every time, every Marine I couldn't reach in time, every choice I made, every face I saw going cold while I was somewhere else, I blamed myself for all of them. August 3rd, 1967. Operation Swift. We were sweeping through Quang Province. Heavy contact. NVA regulars. Well-armed, well-trained. The firefight lasted 6 hours. Casualties mounted fast, too fast. I was running constantly, from one wounded Marine to another. Tourniquet, pressure bandage, 4, morphine, move to the next, repeat. My hands were covered in blood. My utilities were soaked with it. Not my blood, theirs, all theirs. At some point, maybe 3 hours in, I ran out of supplies. No more bandages, no more plasma, no more morphine, just my hands and pressure and lies. You're gonna be okay. Medevac's coming. Hang on. Stay with me. Private Chen took a round through the gut, intestines exposed, probably punctured. He needed surgery within the hour, or he'd die from sepsis. I had nothing to give him, no supplies, no way to help. I held pressure on the wound with my bare hands, tried to keep his intestines from spilling out, talked to him, kept him conscious. Talk to me, Chen. Where are you from? Tell me about home. San Francisco, he whispered. Got a girl there. Linda, gonna marry her. You'll marry her. You're gonna make it. Stay with me. He died while I was holding him. Felt him go. Felt the life leave. His eyes stayed open, looking at me, trusting me. I'd lied to him, told him he'd make it when I knew he wouldn't. But what else could I do? Tell him he was dying, that I couldn't save him, that there was no hope? The lies were all I had left to give. I moved to the next casualty, and the next, and the next. Sergeant Morrison, the first Morrison, my squad leader, found me an hour later. I was sitting next to a dead Marine, PFC Thompson. I didn't remember getting to him, didn't remember when he died. Documento. Doc, you gotta let go. I was still holding pressure on Thompson's wound, even though he was cold, even though it didn't matter anymore. Morrison gently pulled my hands away. He's gone, Doc. You did what you could. I looked at my hands, covered in blood, shaking, couldn't stop shaking. I couldn't save them, I said. I ran out. I ran out of everything. You saved 8 men today, Doc. 8. Without you, they'd all be dead. 8 saved, 5 dead. Good ratio, better than most firefights. But I only saw the 5. Only remembered the ones I couldn't save. Chen, Thompson, Ramirez, Williams, different Williams, Jackson. 5 Marines who called for Doc and died anyway. That's the day something broke in me. Not dramatically, just a crack. A fracture in whatever keeps you functional. I kept working. Kept treating casualties. Kept running through fire. But the crack was there, getting wider with each mission. By October, I was a different person. Harder, colder, more efficient. The new guys would arrive, fresh corpsmen straight from Field Medical Service School, eager, confident, ready to save lives. I'd see myself in them. The kid I'd been 7 months ago, before the rice paddy, before Operation Swift, before I learned that you can't save everyone. They'd learn. They always did. Usually in the first week. I taught them what I could, showed them tricks, how to apply a tourniquet one-handed, how to start an IV in the dark, how to triage fast, how to lie convincingly to dying men. Tell them they're going to make it, I said, even if they're not. Especially if they're not. Give them something to hold on to. The new corpsman would nod. Take notes. Not really understanding. You can't understand until you're holding someone while they die. until you feel their hand go slack in yours, until you close their eyes and move on to the next one. My record was good. 23 Marines saved, 17 died. Better than a 50% survival rate for casualties I treated. They wanted to give me a medal. Bronze Star for valor. Navy Achievement Medal, something. I didn't want it. Medals for what? For not saving 17 men. For making choices that left Marines dying alone. But they gave it to me anyway. Pinned it on at some ceremony I barely remember. The company commander said nice things about courage and dedication. I felt nothing. Just wanted to get back to the platoon, back to the Marines who needed me. Because that was all that mattered, being there when they called, when they screamed, "Doc." Even if I couldn't always save them, at least I was there. At least they didn't die alone. November came. We got a new platoon commander, Lieutenant Harris, 23 years old, fresh from Quantico, full of ideas about tactics and strategy. On his third patrol, we got ambushed. Harris took a round through the chest, collapsed in the open. I ran to him, bullets everywhere, Marines laying suppressing fire to cover me. Got to Harris. He was conscious, looking at me, scared. "Doc, am I gonna die?" I checked the wound, through and through. Lung, maybe heart, definitely major vessels. He was bleeding internally, badly. In a hospital with surgery, maybe. Out here, no chance. "You're gonna be fine, Lieutenant Medevac's coming. You'll be drinking beer in Da Nang tonight." He smiled, believed me. "Thanks, Doc." He died 3 minutes later, before the medevac arrived. Held my hand the whole time. I'd lied to him, gave him false hope, let him die thinking he'd survive. Was that mercy or cowardice? I didn't know, still don't. All I know is that lying to dying men became routine, automatic, part of the job. Tell them they'll make it. Tell them help is coming. Tell them anything to ease the fear. Then close their eyes and move to the next one. That's what being a corpsman meant. Not saving everyone, just being there, trying, lying when you had to, and carrying every death with you. My tour ended in March 1968, 13 months in Vietnam. Treated over 90 casualties, saved 53, lost 37. Good numbers, they told me. Excellent survival rate. You did your job well. I didn't feel like I'd done well. I felt like I'd failed 37 times. They sent me back to the States, Naval Hospital in San Diego. Light duty while I processed out. I was supposed to feel relieved, safe, home. Instead, I felt guilty. My Marines were still there, still patrolling, still getting hit. And their doc was in California. Who was treating them now? Some new corpsman who didn't know their names? Who didn't know that Martinez hated morphine? That Jenkins was allergic to penicillin? That Morrison needed extra attention because he wouldn't admit when he was hurt? I'd abandoned them. That's how it felt. Like I'd deserted them. I tried to adjust to garrison life, routine medical work, treating sailors with the flu, with sprained ankles, with hangovers. It was meaningless. These weren't life or death. These weren't Marines screaming for help. These weren't choices that mattered. I started having nightmares. The rice paddy, Operation Swift, Chen dying while I held him, Morrison's whispered call for help while I was treating someone else. The faces, all 37 faces, the ones I couldn't save. They'd look at me in the dreams, accusatory. "Why didn't you save me, Doc? Why wasn't I worth saving?" I'd wake up reaching for my medical bag, reaching for supplies that weren't there. trying to treat casualties that were 8,000 miles away. The Navy offered counseling. I went once. The psychiatrist asked about Vietnam, about the casualties, about how I felt. How did I feel? Empty, hollowed out, like I'd left the only part of me that mattered in a rice paddy. I couldn't explain it, couldn't make them understand. So I stopped going, got out in June 1968, honorable discharge, full benefits. Thank you for your service. Went back to Chicago, tried to figure out who I was now, what I was supposed to do, applied to medical school, got in. Thought maybe I could keep saving people, keep being useful, but I couldn't handle it. The first time I saw trauma, a car accident victim, I froze, saw Chen, saw Thompson, saw all of them. I dropped out after one semester. Got a job as a pharmacy technician, something medical but not emergency. No life or death decisions, no one screaming for help. Safe, boring, meaningless. I met a woman, got married. She knew I'd been a corpsman, knew I'd been in Vietnam. Didn't ask for details. I didn't volunteer them. What would I say? That I'd decided who lived and who died. That I'd lied to dying men. That I still heard them calling for me. That I was 21 years old when I learned that sometimes you can't save someone. You can only hold their hand while they die. That I was still that 21-year-old kid, still running through that rice paddy, still trying to reach the wounded in time, still carrying 37 Marines who called for Doc, and Doc couldn't save them. The Marines called us heroes, said we ran through hell to save them. Maybe we did, but hell came back with us, and we never left. We never came back.